Hi everybody, I'm Skip Alsheimer and welcome to the AV Geeks Lunchtime Streaming Show. That last film, I was trying to remember where I got it from and tried to look it up. I think it's from a batch of films that I got from Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute in Troy, New York. They just gave me a bunch of films that they no longer needed. And if I had to guess, I would say that that's some sort of test nuclear reactor where they're lowering rods into water to create some fission, and then the water would heat up and then they would do steam, and that's, if I had to guess, that's what I would say that was. But I don't know for sure because there was nothing written on the can. The title Men and Pulleys was just what my intern came up with as a way to distinguish the footage from anything else that we had. Alright, so we watch old 16mm films, and the next film I have is set up on our telecine, and it's funny how many films I have with animals that are getting lost, and this is no exception. This is Lost Little Burrow. Enjoy.
Mountain foothills and the rocky flatlands below were slowly warming beneath the sun's steady rays. The desert life was stirring. One by one, the animals were leaving their homes and hiding places to search for food. A little band of wild burros had been awake for several hours. They had spent the night together, huddled closely to protect themselves from the chill night wind. But now the sun was up, and they were all busy looking for desert plants to eat. Well, almost all of them. One little burro, Blanco, was still content with his mother's milk. Blanco's mother took good care of him. No matter what she was doing, she always wanted to know where he was. She made sure he didn't wander too far from her side. Blanco would have been happy to stay with his mother like this forever. But on this particular morning, his mother saw something that would change their lives. She knew that she and Blanco might be in danger. The riders hadn't seen them.
Oops. I've shown this film before. I just found it in the spreadsheet, and my notes were not good. I looked up burrow spelt wrong, and so let me put up another film. I don't want to waste your time. I don't want to waste our valuable bandwidth watching things we've seen before, unless they're really good. And this one wasn't very good. This next film is Cornet, part of a series they did for young men who were about to be drafted in how to prepare for things. This is Military Life in You. Enjoy.
Here's a familiar sight in any military installation in the world. If you're a young man thinking about what military life is like, you're probably thinking you'll be doing a lot of drilling. And you will, especially in your early weeks of training. No matter what branch of service you might get into, no matter what other specialized training you receive, you'll spend a lot of time learning how to drill and drilling. Even the ladies do it, and do it well. You may have wondered why the armed forces put so much emphasis on drilling. This isn't the way a modern army goes into battle, so what are they training for? Now, it does look good in a parade. But then, this isn't what men are being trained for, to look good in a parade. Of course, they do look good. Somehow you know that whatever situation they're faced with, they'll give a good account of themselves. They'll meet the job and do the job as good soldiers. And these men are learning to be good soldiers. For one of the main characteristics of military life is discipline. With all the other skills a soldier learns, discipline, which began on the drill field, pays off here. In the same way, discipline learned on the parade ground pays off here, when men of many skills must click as a team. Discipline learned in camp pays off here. Discipline learned on the ground pays off here. And discipline pays off here, when you're on your own, and your imagination plays tricks on you. Or is it your imagination? And you wish you were safe in the rear somewhere, and you feel like running away. But you don't run away. You've got your orders, and you stay at your post to protect yourself and your buddies. Now, it's a long way from that sentry post somewhere over there to this room somewhere in the USA. But over here, we'll find a boy who may someday be over there. This is Kurt Johnson. Like most boys, Kurt takes a dim view of discipline. He calls himself a rugged individualist. But what does that mean? Suppose we do a little thinking about Kurt and about you. Is this so-called rugged individualism, or is it self-discipline? Maybe you don't want to get up, but you have to be at school on time. So you get yourself up and get yourself ready. Maybe you're in the habit of making your bed and straightening your room. Maybe you've taken on other responsibilities around the house. Think about them. Aren't they disciplines you've accepted to make it easier for your family to live together? Oatmeal. Maybe one time you didn't like it, but if you learned to like it, you practiced self-discipline that made meals go better. Yes, chances are you're under more discipline than you realize. Of course, that rugged individualism may still show through.
Kurt, why hasn't this been fixed yet?
Gee, Dad, I was going to, but there have been so many things going on.
Kurt, we had an agreement about this. Will you come straight home from school this afternoon and fix it?
Gee, Dad, not this afternoon. Some of the fellas were going
Kurt.
down.
Either it's fixed by dinner time tonight, or the car stays in the garage tonight.
Oh, Dad.
Well, what do you do in a case like that? If you snap out of it, take it in your stride, and do the job, that shows you've developed the self-discipline that characterizes a man. If you keep on sulking, feel sorry for yourself, then you've got some growing up to do before you enter service. In service, you get up. There's no time to fool around with a so-called rugged individualist who's feeling kind of sleepy. There are a lot of men here with a lot of things to do. Your first responsibility is to take care of yourself and your things and do it right. Good old Mom won't be there to pick up after you. If you're finicky about your food, get over it. With a lot of mouths to feed, the cooks don't make it fancy. Just good, solid food. One thing more about military life. You'll take orders. However you reacted that time when Dad ordered you to do that repair job, in service, you'll take orders and carry them out. No matter what your assignment is in service, you'll take orders every day. Some orders you'll understand, and some orders you won't understand, but you'll still follow orders. You'll do what you're told, when you're told, how you're told. And it won't do you any good to protest or complain or feel sorry for yourself. Some of the orders you'll follow are in the form of rules and regulations. Maybe, like Kurt, you've been wondering how you'll get along trying to follow so many rules and regulations. Well, let's think about that. Will it really be such a new experience? Haven't you been following rules and regulations all your life? And you might as well admit it. You know they're necessary. What kind of mess would this corner be if people didn't follow the rules? You see, as long as just one person is involved in something, he can do pretty much as he pleases. But whenever people get together to do something, we need rules. And you know what we call a man who doesn't follow the rules. He's a poor sport. And the soldier who doesn't follow the rules is a poor soldier. Because he shows no respect for uniform regulations, you know immediately that this man is a poor soldier, don't you? This man wears his uniform with pride. Take your pick. Which kind of serviceman do you want to be? Military courtesy. That's another part of the same deal. Standing up, saluting, saying sir, these are the ways a military man shows his respect for his superiors. Think of it much as saying good morning to a neighbor, or your teacher, or your boss. For of course military courtesy is based upon common, everyday civilian courtesy. In fact, military life on the whole is not basically so different from civilian life. We learn discipline from the time we're small kids. We stick to rules and regulations whenever people have to do things together. The rules aren't hard to learn. We learn them quick when we need them. Rules for baseball or for soldiering. The important thing to remember about military life is that it's a life for men. The best way to get ready for that life is to grow up. Here's what we mean. Maybe you'll be ordered out of a game. You won't like it, but you know it would be childish to get sore or quit, so you follow orders. Discipline, self-discipline, is the difference between a child and a man. And discipline is the difference between a mob and an army. Discipline, which means your readiness to conform to the requirements of your leaders and your service. Think it over. If you're going into service, you'll want to do a good job. Military life is strict, but it's made up of the same elements that enable people to work together in civilian life. Courtesy and respect, rules and regulations, right and wrong ways of doing things, and so-called rugged individualism giving way to discipline and teamwork. Those are the things that spell out military life.
So Cornette assumes all responsibility for that film. Don't blame anybody else that was in the credits. It's solely Cornette. So there's a whole series of those. It's really kind of interesting, and it really is trying to prepare young men who are getting out of high school or out of college and say like, all right, you're going to get drafted or you're going to enroll and fight in Korea or another war. This is what you should expect. It's trying to be very progressive in that way. So very interesting. All right, so yeah, I read the comments, all the complaints about me showing a film that I've shown before, and so this next film will prepare me on how to respond to your complaints the right way. This is Consumer Complaints the Right Way. Enjoy.
From earliest times, man has tried to make his life easier by using products made by others. It was his right to expect good quality in services and materials. Man has become dependent on countless items and services supplied to him by other people.
Forward, man!
And yet, since the air is human, things don't always work the way that they're supposed to. The perfect machine or service has yet to be invented. And until it is, products will continue to break down from time to time. When that happens, what do you do? This is where you, as the consumer, can do something about it with the right way to complain to get results. Now, there are a few things to consider when you have a complaint. First, are you in the right? Is your complaint legitimate? For instance, have you fulfilled the basic maintenance and warranty rules? Is the item covered for repairs? You'll find that most stores are happy to make adjustments or replacements if these conditions are met, if you complain the right way. When new merchandise is defective, take it back to the store where you bought it.
May I help you?
Try to return the product. Best to find the salesperson who sold you the item originally, though in larger stores this isn't always possible. Save the receipt to prove you bought it at that store. Also, avoid making returns during rush hours or near closing time, as this may influence the helpfulness of the salesperson.
I'm sorry, it just doesn't look scratched to me.
When you get an answer like that, you may feel like doing this. Don't lose your temper. There are better ways to handle the situation.
I'd like to see the manager.
That's your next step. Ask to speak to someone with more authority. And be firm about it. You'll find that most complaints can be handled simply if you do it the right way. But what about items or services that can't be easily returned to a store? This calls for an entirely different approach. Well, not like that. I mean, it's time to use your telephone. You can get a lot done this way if you do it right. Always have a pad and a pencil handy to write down names and numbers for possible future reference. Note the time and the date of the call and the people you talked with, in case you have to take the complaint. State your problem clearly and simply.
Hello?
Ask to speak to someone who can make decisions. Not just a salesperson. Ask for the store manager, a vice president, the boss.
Well, may I please speak to your sales manager?
Oh, out to lunch, huh? Well, then your service manager.
Be firm and state your problem again, simply.
Service department.
Yes, the garbage disposal you installed last week isn't working.
Next, make it clear just what you expect them to do and when.
Well, I'd like it fixed or replaced this afternoon.
Wait silently for an answer, as this will force a response on the other end. If you get an answer like,
Well, we'll get to it as soon as we can, Mrs. Robbins.
then restate your request so that it requires a yes or no answer.
So it'll be fixed today?
If the answer is no, keep pressuring. If the person says no 3 or 4 times in a row, it has a very unsettling effect, making him want to say yes to something.
So it won't be fixed today?
Well, I don't know.
You couldn't possibly get a man out here this afternoon?
I really don't think so, Mrs. Robbins. Our servicemen are already scheduled.
Well, do you have an after-hours service?
You see, this gets into overtime, and it would really be difficult for us.
Be sure to get a specific promise before you hang up. This is important if you're going to get action.
Well, what about tomorrow morning then?
Yes, yes. Tomorrow morning would be fine. Yes, before noon. I'm sure we can do that.
Okay, very good. I can expect you before noon then? Yes, thank you very much.
A courteous, well-handled complaint will, in most cases, get results. But what if you're having real trouble with your complaint? This is when the letter campaign, if properly used, can be very effective. As with a phone call, you must be to the point, firm, and professional in tone. Your letter should have 3 basic paragraphs. First, your story.
This letter is concerning the work you did on my house September 25th through the 27th of this year.
No frills, just the facts. Where and when you bought the item or service, the price, the person who sold it to you, and how the item was faulty.
And though Mr. Thompson was the salesperson who originally sold me the service, he refused to do anything to fix the leaks after they began.
Add to this any be specific on dates, prices, and names. Your second paragraph should state your demands.
Therefore, I request that you immediately re-roof my house.
Be very specific about what you want, or you won't settle for less. This is backed up by your third paragraph, which is your vow, what it is you'll do if the job isn't done right.
Then I must notify your licensing board, the Better Business Bureau, and, if I must, the state's Attorney General.
Type at least 3 copies of your letters. These will serve as a record of the people you have written to in case you have to contact a different authority. You may also include copies of receipts, warranties, and advertisements concerning your item or service. Keep the originals. If all else fails, blow the whistle on them. There are many agencies designed to help consumers that you may turn to. A good place to start could be your local Better Business Bureau. If the business you're dealing with is licensed by the state, you might contact the state licensing board. Or contact your local Consumer Affairs Bureau or even the State Attorney General's Office of Consumer Affairs. You may take the matter to small claims court. Many times a business would rather settle outright than take the time and effort to go through court. Time-consuming? Well, it may be, but you can get results by these simple methods. As a buying consumer, you have a right to complain when necessary. By doing so, you may bring to light shoddy or unethical business practices. You are in effect telling manufacturers how to improve their products and services. You help yourself, and you help other consumers. By not complaining, you may allow shoddy practices, products, and services to continue. Just know how to complain properly. If you have a legitimate complaint, you can get results by going about it the right way.
Wow. So, I adjusted the webcam so I'm not so bright. Now I'm too dark. Anyways, so that film was actually made for consumers. Fascinating. I think this is something that's kind of needed, like, to teach people how to work with customer service. I mean, there's some egregious customer service things going on nowadays, but I think that some people, well, I know that some people have this really unrealistic expectation of what they're being offered, especially in the fast food experience. And we have certainly seen bad examples, and I see a lot of people mentioning the name that's associated with that. But I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna invoke that name because it's like invoking a devil. All right, this next film we're gonna watch. Let me say thank you so much. Who did it? I can't remember. Somebody got me some coffee. Nathan is a long-time watcher, and I appreciate the coffee. I'm using a new company or new organization website to get coffee now. BuyMeACoffee.com was great, but they are stopping using PayPal, which I know a lot of people have PayPal, and it is a service which I love and I hate at the same time, and I know that a lot of people use that. So this ko-fi.com/avgeeks is a way you can buy us coffee. So thank you for doing that, Nathan, and thank you for tuning in all this time. I really appreciate seeing all of the people, and one of the things that's kind of interesting. So I showed a film last week called Choice, and some of you folks found the filmmaker, who has his own YouTube channel where he watches old films and talks about them. And he contacted me. At first he's like, hey, where did you get this film? And then later I found out that he didn't have a copy of it anymore. So we actually scanned it for him, and we're going to send it to him. And he's very excited. So thank you for reaching out. This is why we show films, so that we can kind of get it out into the world. You know, it's not just films that we can laugh at, but it's also films that find the filmmakers. Because a lot of times, filmmakers who made these films, they just don't have the resources. They made that film, they left it at a lab, and then they worked on the next film. That was what was important. It didn't matter the old film. And then the lab went belly up, or something happened to the print, and so they don't have it anymore. So that's why I'm happy to kind of reunite people with their films. So thank you for that. This next film is interesting because it's from the United Fund of Allegheny County, which is Pittsburgh area. And this United Fund is what eventually, I think, became United Way. It's very similar to the Blue Feather organization, the Red Feather organization, Community Chest. So it's a organization that raises money that goes towards various projects, charity projects in a given area. And so this one has some celebrities in it. If you watched TV land, you probably can name all of these people. So here's Photo That Won in a Walk. Enjoy.
I play Ethel Mertz on television. I want to tell you about a very interesting thing that happened at our press photographer's dinner. It all had to do with a reporter who suddenly grew up. Well, maybe it would be better if I showed you. There they are at dinner. That's Bill Trent getting his award for the best sports picture of the year. Now the chairman is saying something about the whys and wherefores of human interest photography, the hardest kind of photography to do well. Now let's see if we can keep these people around for a while, so you and I can go back a few months and see what led up to this big moment.
Hey, come on, Joe, break it up. I got some real stuff for you this time.
What's the boy wonder come up with today?
Only the hottest pictures in the century, that's all.
Leave the place with Nellie, genius. I'll get on him in a minute.
How about that? No taste around here, no appreciation of an artistic soul. Here, give these to Joe when he's out now.
You better get that artistic soul of yours into the boss's office. He's been looking all over for you.
Yeah? Must want my nimble brain to solve some big international problem. Don't forget the plates to Joe and the ice cream cone.
You know, ice cream cones have gone up to $10 since you last bought me anything.
A dime? Ooh. Well, I'll split one with you. Boss, I just came from the airport. I got pictures of that Russian. Wait till you see.
Harry, will you ever learn to come into this office listening and not talking?
Boss,
Sit down now and shut that mammoth mouth of yours. I've got a new assignment for you.
A new assignment for me? The Kremlin, huh? Life behind the Iron Curtain?
One more word and you're fired.
Oh, boss, you wouldn't do that to me. I tell you...
I accept your resignation.
I won't say a word.
Now, I want you to do a series on the United Fund.
The United Fund?
Yes.
Me?
You.
Oh, I can't do that. That
Why not?
charity kick is not for me. No, it's too expensive. It's against my principles.
Well, I hope your principles won't keep you from accepting a free dinner at our house tonight.
Dinner?
Besides, I want to talk to you about the fund.
Oh, no.
Well, Ethel's having spaghetti.
Spaghetti?
Yes.
I accept, on one condition. I just talked to Ethel. I don't have to talk to you.
Let's not forget that.
So I said to Fred, just a minute while I taste the spaghetti sauce. No, I said that to you. I said to Fred, this has got to be our biggest year. If people would give 1 hour's pay per month, every month of the year, we'd be in. That sauce needs a little something. That's exactly what I told Fred. I said, you've got to put Harry McGee on the pictures. Harry would kill me if he knew I was behind it. Listen, dear, they'll be here for dinner in just a little while, so I have to hang up. Gotta go. Bye. So, honey, those pictures you take have got to be good.
Look, Ethel, I haven't talked to him all through this meal. Now, if you keep this up, I'm not going to talk to you.
Harry McGee, you're not turning on me.
I'm turning on the world. Send this bow-legged kid to camp. Craggy-jawed Dr. Von Schmidt's mixing the formula to wipe out the common cold. I did those hack shots back in high school.
That's exactly why I put, that is why Fred put you on the United Fund. We need a new angle, a new approach. Isn't that right, Fred?
Not exactly, but it'll do.
He doesn't have to give reasons, you know. Not him. Dictators never bother explaining things to the common folk.
Okay now, Harry, don't pick on poor Fred.
Poor Fred? What about poor Harry McGee? Tramping the streets trying to find something to take a picture of.
You listen to me, Harry McGee. If you can take pictures that will show people exactly where their United Fund money goes, if you can show them the need for their help, it'll be the best job you ever did.
Rally round the flag, boys. Let's all sing Dixie.
I don't care how you do it, just so you get the job done. And I'll tell you how I want this assignment handled, lad. Just get me a picture that says it all. One that's got everything.
Mm-hmm. Just something slightly immortal, huh? Oh, that's easy.
Yeah, for a 7-day-a-week genius.
Thanks to Ethel, the next day I started going through the agencies on the United Fund assignment. And Ethel's voice kept haunting me all the way. As I pulled into the boys' club, I thought to myself, I never went to a boys' club when I was a kid. I turned out all right.
Or did you, McGee?
You see what I mean about Ethel? Oh, you can't get away from her. They have all the facilities there for keeping the kids off the street.
That's right, McGee. Thanks to United Fund money.
There's a shop where the boys learn by making things with their own hands.
Making darn near everything but mischief.
The kids are having fun, but McGee isn't. Shots of cute little tykes mixing it up are a dime a dozen, a baker's dozen. I still need something to build my story on. Joe, I'm gonna leave some stuff with Nellie. No hurry at all. Develop it any time.
Well, did the miraculous McGee finally strike out? Maybe I ought to buy you an ice cream cone.
Yeah, with arsenic sprinkles. One thing I found as I rode around at the United Fund agencies, they make $1 go a long way. Harry McGee respects that.
One fund takes care of the Red Cross, the Salvation Army, cerebral palsy, all kinds of medical research, old people, and babies. More than 100 different services.
Babies are always good. Maybe this is where I'll get the shot I need.
The United Fund does a lot of work with babies.
I don't know what it is about these kids born with 2 strikes against them.
They look healthier than average.
Maybe it's because they get such good care, even without fathers or mothers. I wouldn't mind sticking around here. I could get some pretty good shots. But I still didn't get what I wanted. Remember, McGee, this assignment can't last forever. Just show Fred you can take that one special picture and then walk in and quit.
Yeah, sure, McGee. But where are you going to find that shot that tells the whole story? Answer me that, Mastermind.
People. Maybe it's the blind. A teenager up to no good. A troubled husband and wife. The lonely old people. Then I went to one of the medical labs working on the UF research projects. Nothing but hacked test tube shots.
Hacked test tubes? Medical research equipment costs money, and so do the men and women who use it. It's money well spent. When we do lick rheumatism, cystic fibrosis, hemophilia, and all the other long names, it will be because research found the way. It's as simple as that, I guess. As simple as money.
After the research shots, I went to the rehabilitation centers.
Seems you need a new set of attitudes when you get disabled. Sometimes your family needs a new attitude, too. That's how the psychiatrist put it. Then there's the long, slow process of learning to eat or dress or move around by yourself. If you're a wife and a mother, they teach you how to work in the kitchen again. But progress is slow. They build new braces here, but that's only half of it. They build desire into the limbs. Desire for recovery.
Come on, here, let me give you a hand.
Thanks, but I think I can take it.
There you are. Aren't those your crutches? How come you're not using them?
Some of us are learning how to walk without them. I was practicing, but I'll never learn.
Oh, you will too. Just takes a little time.
Oh, a camera. Are you taking pictures here?
Sure, for my newspaper.
You take one of me?
Well, I was just leaving. No, don't look like that. I have an idea. I'll take a picture of you if you'll do something for me.
If I can.
Oh, no ifs. Now, here's my idea. The press photographers have a banquet every year, and they give a prize for the best photograph submitted. I'm going to take your picture and submit it.
Oh, it couldn't possibly win. They must have millions of pictures.
I think it could win. Now, here's what we'll do. First, you have to promise you'll do something for me if we win. Promise? Now, if we win, here's what I want you to do.
Oh, but I couldn't possibly.
Yes, you could. I know you could. Come on now. Let me get the picture. Joe, those pictures of the little girl ready yet?
Nellie has them, Harry. They look good.
Thanks.
Here you are, Harry. They're just great.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Nellie.
Hello, McGee.
Hey, how about those, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Got another assignment ready for me?
You're not quite through with this yet.
What's this?
Sign this United Fund pledge card. Ethel insists.
Well, that's how it happened. Harry's picture of Janie taking her first steps without crutches won the Press Photographer's Award. Now let's see if they're waiting for us at the banquet. And who do you think is accepting the award for Harry? That's right, his new friend, Janie.
Thank you very much. Thank you all very much. Goodbye.
The only thing is, if we do win, I want you to walk up and get the award. You can do it if you practice and practice and practice.
Pretty sneaky, naming the characters Fred and Ethel, and I guess at the time Eddie Albert was not a television personality. He does show up in a couple of films, Bell Science films. He also had a film company, or helped create a film company that did a lot of educational films about basically sex education films very early on, basically talking about where babies come from, not explicitly of course, but he just thought that information was important. So he's an interesting guy in the educational and instructional film world, not just a man who is living in hell in Green Acres, which I have gone between really liking that show to really hating that show, back to really liking that show again. And it's true that he is in hell. He's did something, he died, and now he's in hell. All right, let's see, what do we got? All right, yeah. This we'll run a little bit over, but Let's learn about some pests.
Throughout America today, our agricultural land is truly a garden. Orchards lush with fruit. Fields and farmlands rich with the goodness of things to eat. A legacy for us to treasure, to build on. And we have built on it. We've made more progress in the last 3/4 of a century than did worldwide agriculture in its previous 7,000 years. Imagine. It's all happened within a single lifetime. And just look at it. Enough to make your mouth water, isn't it? Food. USA, Horn of Plenty. World of food. Food coming to us from all parts of the country, to our very backyard. Wholesome food, quality food, food at reasonable prices, and food in quantity. Yes, lots of it.
Feel that wind, it means there's a lot of rain coming with it.
The advances of technology in agriculture have been so effective that now we can mass produce crops to feed our expanding population. And in this dynamic age of ours, no longer are the things we eat limited by season or by geography. No, it hardly matters where we are. Our tables are well bestowed with the products of a big, wide country. American agriculture is many things. It is the fields of corn with their deep soils. Agriculture is the sun-drenched valleys of the salad bowl. But no matter where it may be, each field is different. Every farm and farmer, every orchard, all different. All producing something else in their own distinctive way. Still, we've been able to cope with the many profiles of our land. We've invented new practices, new techniques, new devices. We have the latest in harvesting equipment. We work with up-to-date packaging methods. The modern farmer and his bounty, his Garden of Eden. Ah, but is it? No, there's trouble in paradise. Trouble in many forms. A beautiful blossom, innocent, but really a deadly weed, a strangler, a killer, well named. Witchweed. And it is but one of 600 or so weeds competing with our growing crops. Then there's the nematode, visible only under the scrutiny of a microscope. It pierces the roots of our food plants and sucks their juices. Potatoes, strawberries, many of the things we like to eat so much. No use squeezing these melons. Nematodes have beat us to it. Consider blight. In 1 year, this lethal fungus destroyed nearly half of our tomato crops along the Atlantic seaboard. But it is just one of at least 1,500 plant diseases that worry our agriculture. Take this hungry pest, this snail with no shell, the slug, destructive feeder of our leafy green vegetables. And consider insects. They are, without question, the most troublesome of our public enemies. The costliest. Several hundred kinds with their voracious appetites are especially destructive. Yes, these are our competitors. Who can compute their number? A number which skyrockets with every breath we take. And if we allow them to get out of control, an infestation can turn into a plague. Man has always been so hounded by his natural enemies. But science has come through with important weapons. The development of plants that fight pests. Better methods of growing crops. Pest killers like insecticides and herbicides. The use of chemicals dates back to the ancient days of brimstone and common salt. But today, of course, our controls are more sophisticated. And they are under strict federal surveillance. For instance, all pesticides must be registered with the United States Department of Agriculture. This is required by law. The data which a pesticide manufacturer submits are carefully evaluated by specialists. Will the pesticide do the job? Is it safe for the user when directions are faithfully followed? What about crop residue? Here's where the Food and Drug Administration enters the scene. Residues are allowed only in specified amounts, safe ones. This is called legal tolerance. In establishing legal tolerance, the administration uses at least a 100-fold factor of safety. 100-fold. When a pesticide is found to be safe as well as useful, a residue tolerance is set, and labeling is accepted for registration. Full directions for the consumer must be spelled out on the label. If a warning is necessary, it must be conspicuous. The health of one and all is of utmost consideration. When it is followed to the letter, the label protects everyone's health. The fast-moving development of the modern pesticide since the middle 40s is one reason why American agriculture has been able to make such spectacular advances. Let's go back to weeds for a minute. When crops are in competition with weeds, quality suffers. Yields are considerably reduced. That's where the herbicide comes in. Without the chemical weed killer, some of our favorite items might easily be priced right out of the food market. Thus, we are constantly trying to tip the scales in our favor. And chemicals are not our only weapon. we have predatory insects. Scientists of the Department of Agriculture continue to search the world for such predators, friendly insects which instinctively prey upon harmful ones, those that do damage to our crops and our livestock. Now here is a case of natural luck, and agriculture scientists have taken advantage of it. The screwworm fly, parasite of livestock. The female we discovered mates only once in her life. So we proceeded to raise flies, sterilize them, and release them over a fly-infested area. Since each mating is ineffectual, the population of screwworm flies spirals down to zero. A unique achievement in man's effort to live with nature. Researchers in agriculture continue to explore and develop new techniques for keeping other pests in check, such as those that eventually grow resistant to insecticides. We are seeking ways to break down this barrier of immunity through new chemicals or by unlocking other secrets of nature. And so research is always at work to protect our food, our plenty, our people. At work to keep our abundance from slipping through our fingers. To keep it flowing in quantity from farm to consumer and still remain the bargain that it is. Nowadays, we pay out less of our workaday dollar for food than we ever have before. That dollar buys us selection. It buys us quality, built-in maid service, convenience, and it buys us safety and assurance for our dinner table. American agriculture is a world leader. Food, USA. Good, plentiful, and safe.
USDA, Department of Agriculture, actually had their own film unit. It's interesting, other government branches didn't always have their own film unit. They would often get somebody else. They would contract with somebody like Wilding Pictures or any number of different entities. But USDA had their own film unit, and they made quite a few films about raising crops and livestock. This one is pretty great. It's beautiful color, and it explains why we use so many pesticides and herbicides. And we certainly, with hindsight, can look back and say, like, oof, yeah, Anyways, thanks again, everybody, for tuning in. We'll be back again tomorrow, 1 o'clock on Tuesday, and we will watch some more 16, including the film that I had set up here that I totally forgot that I had set up. But we'll watch that. It'll be exciting. Everybody have a great rest of your day, and we will see you again soon. Sometimes we look inside the film can to see what it tells us, and it asks us to please rewind and to love each other. So that seems like some good advice. Everybody have a great rest of your Monday, and we will see you soon. Take care.